Society calls you boring. They say you're missing out, or that you're antisocial. But while the world is busy chasing the next loud party, you're at home, recharging in a way they can't even begin to understand. If the thought of a canceled plan feels like winning the lottery, this video is for you. You aren't hiding from life, you're curating it. Today, we are looking into the mind of the homebody to reveal why your night in is actually a sign of a highly tuned nervous system. We're moving past the labels and diving straight into the science of why your four walls are your greatest power source. The first thing you need to realize is that your brain has a specific comfort zone for stimulation. This is called optimal arousal theory. Every person has a different threshold for how much noise, light, and social interaction they can handle before their brain starts to redline. Why does this happen? It's likely your brain is more sensitive to dopamine. You don't need a stadium of people to feel a buzz. A good book or a quiet movie provides all the chemical reward you need. What it means for you is that staying home isn't about being tired. It's about maintaining your peak mental state. You aren't lazy, you're just efficient with your energy. For many, the world outside is a series of variables they can't control. But the second you step over your threshold, you enter a zone of territorial comfort. This is a psychological state where your environment acts as a safety signal to your nervous system. When you control the lighting, the temperature, and the volume, your brain stops scanning for threats. This allows your parasympathetic nervous system to take over, lowering your heart rate and cortisol levels. You love staying home because it is the only place where your brain feels it can finally take off its armor. If you hate crowded places, you might have sensory processing sensitivity. While others can tune out the loud music or the flickering neon light at a bar, your brain is screenshotting every single detail. You are processing 10 times more information than the person next to you. This high level of awareness is a double-edged sword. It makes you deeply empathetic and observant, but it also means you hit sensory overload much faster. Staying home is your way of preventing a system crash. By choosing a low stimulation environment, you're protecting your ability to think deeply. You aren't avoiding people, you're avoiding the noise that drowns out your own thoughts. There is a specific psychological term called social anhedonia. Now, this sounds scary, but it's actually quite common. It refers to a decreased interest in social rewards. While most people are addicted to the likes of a social gathering, you simply don't find the same level of pleasure in superficial interactions. You prefer depth over breadth. A 5-minute conversation with 20 people feels like a chore, but a 3-hour conversation with one person feels like lifeblood. You stay home because you realize that most socializing is just performance art. You'd rather have a real connection with yourself than a fake connection with a room full of strangers. Finally, we have the concept of creative incubation. Studies have shown that the brain's default mode network, the part responsible for imagination and problem solving, is most active when we are alone and unstimulated. When you stay home, you aren't just doing nothing. Your brain is busy connecting dots that it couldn't see during the chaos of the day. Many of the world's greatest thinkers were homebodies because they knew that the best ideas don't grow in crowds. They grow in the quiet soil of a familiar room. Your boring Friday night might actually be the birthplace of your next big breakthrough. The next time someone tries to make you feel guilty for staying in, remember this: you aren't missing out on their world. You are tuning in to yours. Society wants you to be loud, busy, and visible because that's how you're easily categorized. But there is a quiet power in knowing exactly where you belong. One piece of advice for today: stop apologizing for your no. If staying home is what makes you feel whole, then it is the most productive thing you can do. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb, light that candle, and realize that you aren't stuck at home. You're finally home.